Hi there, and welcome to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. I'm a spirit navigator, which basically means I navigate between the worlds. Um, yes, there are different worlds. Believe it or not, there is life after death, if you ask me, because frankly, I talk to the dead. So today we're going to be talking about communicating and how your loved ones, and yes, maybe even that ex or even the ex's mother is talking to you from spirit. How does that show up in your life? How can you recognize when it really is a message from across the veil? Today is a video series or part of a video series called Wisdom on Wednesday, which is WOW, the acronym of WOW. And you can find this video series on my playlist by clicking the logo, and you'll go to my main YouTube channel and you can simply click playlist. Look for WOW. Guess what? There's over 100 free videos for you. It's like a whole spiritual class that's completely free. And the topics range very widely from things like today, how to communicate to people who are no longer living on this planet, or even crop circles, or how to raise your vibration, or what is your soul contract? Why did you incarnate here? All these questions that, frankly, humans don't get an instruction manual. We just get sent down here with our brain being wiped, and we basically get to figure it out all over again. How you do this life is through learning your astrology, your numerology, learning about your soul contracts, learning about your own personal power and what you came here to do in this lifetime. And those are just some of the things that I talk about in this series. Again, it's free. Check it out. Watch what you're drawn to, and you'd be surprised what might happen, how you might have some new awareness that might help you in your life. So let's talk about the people that are no longer here, right? I happen to be doing this around the holidays, the Christmas, Hanukkah holiday, but anytime you watch this video is perfect for you because this information does not expire. Oh, also, I am channeling 60% my spirit guides, 40% Susan, and that made me say that because that's not something I would say, but it's kind of good actually. They're good at what they do. So this knowledge does not expire. Okay, this is forever and ever. And I would also say that this knowledge actually has more value to you as we get into the oncoming years, because for whatever reason, and I talk about this in some of my other videos, the veil between the worlds is thinning. Now, some people think the veil is in our mind, probably is, as most things are, but some people like to think of it as a real thing, a real membrane, a real spiritual fence, so to speak. And sometimes throughout the year, that veil thins just naturally, like on Halloween. This is something that people have written about for hundreds and hundreds of years, right? That's a natural time when the veil between the worlds thins. And theoretically speaking, those that don't exist on this physical plane, on our planet at this time in a physical manifestation, are able to get here. Okay. However, guess what? The veil is thinning anyway. It's kind of like climate change. It's a veil change, right? Like, I don't know what's causing it to thin. I think it's a natural process. I don't think it's anything harmful. I think it's as humans become more and more aware of their own power and more aware of their own ability to have intuition, to have psychic abilities, which is innate. You are born with it. We are all born with it. Some of us, because of our upbringing, our culture, and also our astrology, numerology, find it harder to access than others. Okay. And also past life situations and childhood situations can create blocks around this. But trust me when I say we are all born with it. We can all have telepathy. I think that is a fascinating subject. I've done videos on that where you can read other people's minds. Well, guess what? How many times have you worn the same color shirt to the office party or to the meeting? How many times have you started a project that you've not told anybody about? Perhaps you wanted to remodel some part of your house and you find out that your coworker is doing the same thing, the exact same thing. You're like, how does this happen? It's telepathy. I have a video about it. You're broadcasting, they're receiving. You can learn about these things and you can empower yourself. That's the key to getting through this life. Okay. Now, let's talk about today's topic. Today's topic is 6 messages or 6 ways that you can be getting messages from loved ones on the other side. Now, I always trip over this loved one thing simply because I'm a medium and, well, when you open the door to the other side, sometimes the ex comes through. I had a woman's ex's mother come through, and she was not pleasant. And she had a lot of things to say that we didn't really ask for and we didn't care about. So I had to basically um, excuse her from our session. So I just laugh because you can be getting messages from your ex, you can be getting messages from someone you love. Okay. Now, I don't think you're going to be getting messages that are like daggers or curses. I'm not saying that at all. But an ex that, maybe they broke your heart, but, you really have a soft spot for them in a way. And they cross over and you don't even know because you're not keeping track of them, right? Well, all of a sudden they pop in your head and you're like, wait a minute, why am I thinking about this person? I actually did a video on this called Love Potion number 9 because one of my exes came into my awareness and I didn't know why. And I thought, with my human thinking, never a good thing to do when it comes to spirituality, that this person was trying to get back in my good graces. Well, it turned out they had a huge health scare, like a real lights out kind of health situation, and they, in that process, they were communicating to me on the spiritual plane. And because I'm aware of communication from the spiritual plane more than a lot of people, I got that message. Okay. So yeah, your ex can come through and send you a little message. Now, this is where humans get tripped up, right? Because you get the message and you're thinking, why would they be bothering me? And if it was not a great relationship, sometimes you immediately go into defense mode. Okay, I'm blocking them. I'm spiritually blocking their number, right? But in reality, it could just be that, hey, sorry that happened. That kind of went sideways. I want to just say, think of the good times, and may you be blessed. That could be their message to you, but your set point regarding them is defense. So you're going to read that message in a defensive tone. Okay. So, anyway, that's some extra information that I wasn't planning on sharing, but here we are when I'm channeling. You know what? They grab the mic. It's basically spirit guide, open mic. And here we are. Okay. I'm going to cover 6 ways that you get messages. I'm going to read them off and then I'm going to go into detail. 6 ways. One is through animals. I will go into that. They can be pets, but more than likely they're not pets, they're wild animals. 2 is music, songs. 3 is dreams, visitations. 4 is visuals. That could mean that you see someone that looks like your ex. 5 is hearing. You hear your name called, or you hear your exes, or why am I focused on X? Lord have mercy. You hear the person in spirit, you sort of hear their voice in your head, or perhaps you hear their voice in a busy place. And that was what I would call hearing or auditory. And the last one is simply, that didn't have a good name for it, but it's called items. Items are when you find something that reminds you of them. So you get out that particular Christmas ornament, or you find for some reason it didn't make, it didn't get thrown out with the purge, and you find an item that they used to have, or an item that you got together that you didn't get rid of. So let's talk about animals. Number one. Well, this is pretty commonly known, I think, in our society, which is the red cardinal. People often say when the red cardinal shows up, that is a loved one in heaven or in spirit that's here to give you a message or to say hi, right? We don't want to get tripped up on the message of what does it mean? What does it mean? Many times it just means, hi, I love you, right? Okay. So animals, the red cardinal, but also any animal that is acting out of the ordinary. This is how you know. People are like, I don't know how to tell when the squirrel is the squirrel and when the squirrel is my dad. Well, I can tell you because a squirrel just being a squirrel is a squirrel. A squirrel with its little paws on the window looking at you, even though you never feed squirrels, you don't have a bird feeder, you don't know why the squirrel's got its little paws on the sliding glass door and it's looking at you. That's out of the ordinary. If a squirrel jumps on your patio railing and looks at you, that's out of the ordinary. If a bird pecks at your window, and again, you don't have a bird feeder, that's out of the ordinary. If you have a bird feeder, but it's not near the window and it's way over there, but the bird is sitting on the window pecking at it, that's out of the ordinary. We humans make excuses for everything. We try to understand things using the concepts of our human world. That is why we miss all of these signs. We just say, that's weird, and we go about our business. We might tell someone, it was so weird today. This bird was pecking at my window. I don't know what that was about. This is strange. And then you forget about it. That's your brain trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. And 9 times out of 10, your brain is the spiritual spam filter. All the spiritual messages are going to your spiritual spam filter into the folder where you never look, where you don't pay any attention to it. Because your brain is like, no, that's not helpful for Susan. That doesn't make any sense. She's really busy. Let's forget about that. Okay, so what would be helpful is if you pay more attention to things that don't make sense. Slow your brain down from filing that spiritual message into the spam folder. Slow it down. Say, wait a minute, wait a minute. This animal is acting out of the ordinary. I wonder why. I wonder what I feel. I wonder what I know without knowing. If it's a deer that wanders into your yard or even a turkey, anything at all. One of my clients, and I'm not doing readings, so please hear me. I am not doing readings. But in the past, one of my clients had two, when I was reading her and her ex husband, their daughter had crossed over. And the daughter brought to me in the reading that a cardinal had been pecking at her window. Do you know this woman had a picture of the cardinal pecking at the window? And she's like, oh my God, that just happened this morning. I was like, what is this cardinal going crazy? So, yes, this can happen. And guess what happened to the ex husband? The woman in spirit told me I left a present or a surprise, present, surprise. The energy was both of those things in my dad's mailbox. So I said to the dad, I said, so what did she leave you in the mailbox? She left you a message in the mailbox. I'm thinking, this could show up as a postcard or, I mean, literally an advertisement. They'll use advertisements, right? Like they'll send you an advertisement for a park or an event or a type of kind of item that you might wear, but that's from them, right? You're like, I never buy Coach bags. I'm a man, but yet I got an advertisement for a Coach bag in my mailbox. That could be a message. But no, this young lady put a snake in his mailbox. He said he opened his mailbox and there was a snake in his mailbox. Now, come to find out, this young lady who's now in spirit loves snakes and she had a great sense of humor, and dad did not have a great sense of humor. And dad lived in like a deserty kind of area where there was a lot of kind of those kinds of things. So, yeah, animals, all kinds of animals. You probably look, I'm just telling you what spirit is saying. Rewind and listen to they just gave you a lot of information and I'm channeling it. I don't know what it was, but it was a lot of information that's very helpful about how to tell when something is a message and when it isn't. Let's move on to music. Music can show up in lots of different ways. It can be in your head. You can have a song playing in your head that you haven't heard in a month or sometimes in years. Now, music playing in your head or a song playing in your head is a form of clairaudience, which is psychic hearing. But music playing in your head can be a message from a loved one. It can also be a message from your spirit guides. So pay attention. When you get a song in your head and you're just humming along or singing along, it's actually important. It didn't get there by accident. You didn't hear that song yesterday. It's not an earworm. It's not something you heard a song and now you can't get it out of your head. That's different. This is a song that you're playing in your mind, in your head, that you haven't heard in a week, a month, maybe even years. And you'll know, oh, they just reminded me something else I need to add to my list. It was six, but now it's seven. Let me just make that note because it's really important. Okay. You'll know if it's from your loved one because it'll be a song that you don't listen to or a song that had some sort of magic energy around you and your loved one, and it brought back a memory. Okay. Again, out of the ordinary. It might even be a song that's playing in your head that is 20 years old. And what does that make you think of? So, again, pause. Try not to just ignore it. Don't let it go to the spiritual spam folder. Pay attention and think about, oh my God, that was 10 years ago. Oh my God, that's when on that vacation, or that was that summer. There's your message. You can dive into that and really feel that. And then just take a moment and say, thank you. I love you too. I miss you. Thank you for reaching across the veil and saying hi. You can take this to the bank. This is real. These are real messages, because how else is it going to happen? Okay, your brain says it doesn't make any sense and then it ignores it. That means it's a message. That means it's spiritual, not physical. Okay, so music can also show up in so many different ways because spirit is not limited by our physical container or our physical environment. So spirit can have the playlist at the mall or the playlist at the store or wherever you are, play a song that reminds you of that person. It can even elicit emotion, like it can make you teary eyed or make you feel emotion in some way. That is a message. Take it to the bank. Do not put it in the spiritual spam folder. Music can also show up on your radio station or your playlist. Oftentimes, I have a big playlist that you're always adding things to your playlist on your whatever it is you listen to, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it is. Sometimes some throwback song will pop on and be playing when I haven't played it in years. Why would it all of a sudden make my shuffle now? Shuffle is an algorithm. It kind of shows you what you want to listen to and what you've been listening to. So when a song is able to jump on your shuffle, that means, what does that mean? How does that happen? Whenever you're asking the question, how did that happen? That's spirit. You can just know that's spirit. So that would also be a form of music. Okay. Music could be um, music from a TV show, music from your kid's toy, any sort of sound. That's music. They can communicate to you in all these ways. And music, they're saying, can even be an article or a post that you see on social media about a band, some news about a band, that particular person who's no longer here, they're now in spirit. That can be that as well. It doesn't have to actually be the song playing. It can be a post about the music band in written form, but that still counts as music and it's still a message. Okay, let's move on to dreams. Dreams are very interesting because and I'm just going to tell you, I know that you have dreams and then you have dreams. The dreams where it's so real and you're just telling somebody it was so real. It was like it really happened. That is a visitation. That's not a dream. So if you have a dream about somebody and you're talking to them and Yeah, like when you wake up, you're thinking, God, did that really happen? How was that dream so visceral? How was it so real? That's a visitation. So they can come to you in your dream, and that would be they visited you. They came across the veil, you went across the veil, you met in the middle somewhere in the dream space, and you had a conversation or you had a reuniting or you just visited. Now, sometimes visitations are I saw them, I feel like that's clairsentience. I feel like I smelled them. I feel like I could feel their hug. I feel like I could really be there with them. That's your feelings. Think about how you talk about things. I felt it, I saw it, I heard it, I knew it. Those are all the psychic clairs. And it's a good indication of how, which psychic, into which psychic skill you used. Clair is short for clear in French. So clairvoyance is psychic seeing or clear seeing. Okay. So dreams, if you're dreaming about somebody, more often than not, it's really a visitation and you really did meet with them. And sometimes you have all those feelings and you have all that awareness, but you don't get the message. You're like, darn, I know I was talking to them, but I didn't get the message. Here's a little tip. And because humans want the message, like we want to know exactly the words that they're saying, but spirit sometimes can't communicate so clearly. And humans are really good with all of our psychic senses, our intuitive senses that we just talked about, the clairs. So, how did you feel? I felt love. I felt a reconnection. Then that's the message. Very simply put, the message was, I love you. I miss you. Okay, so don't underestimate the message from the song, from the wild animal, from the dream, from the feeling. That is the message, okay? And you can ask for all of these things, by the way. You can ask for your loved ones to send you signs, to send you messages. Why not? And then as they happen, and sometimes they happen a day later, a week later, whatever, if you want to keep that information, that beautiful message from going into your spiritual spam folder, then write it down. If you'll do the simple thing of just opening up your phone and creating a note that says signs, every time you get a sign, write it down and write down the date, even if it's a feather, whatever, a song, whatever, a dream. Had a dream about Papa, today's date, felt love. That's all you got to do. If you'll do that, you'll prove to yourself over the course of months how many signs you're getting and how they really are communicating to you because you cannot deny the list. Here's a list of over 2 or 3 months, and you've got 10 different times. You'll start to really believe it and you'll start to be in the vibrational alignment of these messages and you'll get even more. Let's move on to hearing. I'm not sure why I wrote hearing other than I kind of covered this, I think, in music. I'm not sure. I'm channeling. I don't know what I just said. So, hearing is you hear your name called. Like I went through this period of time where I was hearing my aunt call my name. Now, I'm also clairaudient, or that's one of the things that I use. Some of us are more clairvoyant, psychic seeing. Some of us are more clairsentient, psychic feeling. So you don't want to be like everybody else. You want to find out what your special abilities are and really get to know those and grow those. So please don't spend any time saying, I don't hear, I want to hear. I don't see, I want to see. That's like saying, I don't have a fifth arm. I really wish I had one. It'd be so helpful, right? No, you want to find out what you can do with what you have and work on that. Okay. Now, there was a time when I was hearing in my own mind, and it sounded like I was hearing it out here. It sounded like somebody called my name. Now, this happens to a lot of people, but it typically only happens, say, 1, 2, 3 times in your whole life. It's not something that happens very often. Even if you are clairaudient psychic hearing, it doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. You you say what? And no one is there. Are you talking to me? And they say, your housemate family member says, no, nobody said anything. You're like, that's weird. I thought I heard my name or I thought I heard something. But in this particular case, I know it was my aunt's voice. I recognized her voice. I never figured out why she was calling my name. You know, maybe she was just saying hello, right? Maybe she was just saying, hi, I can hear you. Now, another thing that Spirit often says is that some of these things are done just to prove to you. The message is to prove that you're clairaudient, to prove that you're clairsentient. You had that dream where that person hugged you and you swear to God it was real, even though this person is no longer on this planet. Sometimes that was not only a message of I love you, I miss you, but also don't underestimate the fact that you felt it. You felt that hug. That's using your psychic abilities. So sometimes they do it just to prove to you you are psychic. You cannot deny this. You have intuition, you have psychic abilities. Okay. So hearing is hearing your name called, hearing. Here's a good one they just gave me. When those of us that love pets, this happens not infrequently, I would say. Your pet crosses over, and yet at some point you hear a collar rattle, a dog collar rattle, or if you have a cat, you hear the bell, or you hear a meow and you're like, I don't have any pets right now. How could I have heard that? That's your pet communicating to you from the other side, and you actually being able to receive that communication through your intuition, through your psychic abilities. And now you know my pet is okay. They're here visiting me. They love me. Okay, so hearing paws on tick, 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 tick on the floor, that's all hearing. Okay. Also, hearing a door open and close, right? That's all psychic hearing or clairaudience. Okay. But that really, I think hearing is more common with pet owners. You hear the little tick, tick, tick across the floor, or you hear the meow, or you hear the toy rattle when there's no pet there to do those things. That's a visitation. That's them saying hello. Hi, how you doing? I miss you. I love you. I'm visiting you. Okay. Last two things is items. Again, you find something that reminds you of this person. It could be a piece, a tchotchke that you bought together. It could be a picture that pops up on your screen, on your phone. You're like, wow, a blast from the past. We have so many ways of describing psychic abilities. And one of them is that's a blast from the past. Well, it rhymes, so it's cute, but it also, how did that even happen? How did this picture of all the pictures show up on my phone today as memories? It's the same thing about music. How, of all the songs, did this song pop up on my playlist? Well, I can tell you how. Your person in spirit arranged for that to happen. And it's not easy. So if you're wondering, like, why doesn't this happen more often? Well, it's actually not the easiest thing for them to do. They are now existing in a different vibration than we are. We're on Earth, we're earthbound, we're at a lower vibration. It doesn't mean that we're, bad. It just means that our vibration to be on planet Earth is an Earth vibration. Okay. Their vibration is way up here, also with your spirit guides, by the way. They're way up here. To get to match those vibrations, to get those vibrations to line up, if one is higher and one is lower, it takes some work. And if the human is not knowledgeable or not aware, then the human's not trying to raise their vibration so that they can connect with their loved ones in spirit or their spirit guides, then it makes it a little harder for those types of energies to connect with us. Add to that the fact that we're very busy on earth. We're working, we're taking care of ourselves, we're paying our bills, we're very busy with earth-based tasks is what they're saying. And we a lot of times forget about spirit, or maybe we don't trust it, or maybe we don't believe in it. So that makes it even harder for your loved ones to give messages to you because you're not tuned into that type of frequency. So raising your vibration is a really good thing to do to be able to communicate or connect with your spirit guides and your loved ones on the other side. Again, free videos, lots and lots of videos in this wow series about all of these topics. Okay. But so items are again anything that you find and it can run the gamut between you're going through your drawer and you find a locket that your grandmother gave you and you're like, I don't remember ever putting this in here. Well, truth be told, you could have looked in that drawer 1,000 times and not been on the frequency of your grandmother. You were on the frequency of, I know the extra keys are in this drawer and where are they? And I really need them right now, right? But the one time your grandmother was able to get through all of that frequency, what is the word they're trying to say? There's like they're giving me like 10 words and I can't get them to make it into one word. Frequency interruptions, density. Let's call it density. It's hard for them to work through the frequency density to connect with you, for you to say, "Oh my gosh, my grandmother's locket." That is not easy. And I think they send a lot of messages to us that just don't connect. We're too busy to get the message, whatever it is, or they're not adept. They're not good at it. Some people in spirit are really good at it, and some people in spirit are less good at it. Also, some of your relatives in spirit are not people that are good communicators, right? Like they just not a good communicator. Doesn't mean they're bad or good or anything. It just means that they're not talkative. They're kind of quiet. Well, guess what? If the person you want to talk to in spirit is quiet, it's going to be harder for you to get a message from them. The messages you're going to get unbidden are going to be the chatty Cathys, are going to be the people that want just, I've got to get a message to my daughter. I've got to get a message to my son. Then they're going to keep trying. They're going to keep trying until boom, that connection happens. So when that connection happens, understand that could be a 1 in 50. They might have tried 50 times. Boom, here's the squirrel at the window. Boom, here's the song on the radio. Boom, here is the locket that I found instead of the keys. And when you have those experiences because it stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? If it's a very strong message, all of a sudden you're like, what keys? You're standing there looking at the locket and reliving the memories, right? It stops you in your tracks. Not always, but sometimes. Okay. So even though squirrel didn't stop you in your tracks, it's still a message. Okay. Now, so items can be anything. And again, they can run the gamut of you find the locket in the drawer, two, you see the photo, that could be an item, it could be a printed out photo. Two, you find in the back of the closet somebody's sweater or somebody's jacket that just didn't get given away or you kept it for whatever reason. There's a reason you found it. You've been through your closet a million times, but now you found it. That's a reason. Pause. Just say, "Hey, how you doing? I love you. I miss you. You know, thank you for being in my life." Right? That's it. That their message is they love you. Your message back is those things, right? So the last thing I'm going to talk about is smells. It wasn't on the list in the beginning. This is extra credit because smells are super important. This is also psychic and it's called clairalience, psychic smelling. Have you ever smelled cigarette smoke? Because a lot of us at a certain age, our grandparents and sometimes our parents smoked cigarettes. So that's a common way that they connect with you. You're like, I smell cigarette smoke, and no one else smells cigarette smoke but you, but it's so strong. It's like in your nose, and you're like, wow, I smell it. Also, it could even be marijuana. Sometimes, like, I have a friend who's in spirit, but man, that girl could toke with the best of them, right? So sometimes I'm in my car, I'm like, I smell skunk. And I'm in my car by myself with a dog, and she doesn't smoke. I know it's spirit. Okay. You could also smell cedar or wood shavings or leather or a cologne that you associate with a grandparent or a parent or even, a sibling. If you have a sibling in spirit, you might smell any number of things like a vanilla if someone was a baker, or you might smell some kind of food that you associate with that person. So that is clair alliance, psychic smelling. Guess what? You got a message from your loved one. I love you. I smell cinnamon. I always associate that with my grandmother, whatever it is, right? Or even your mother-in-law, whoever in spirit that you associate with that smell. So that is a message from them. Hey, I'm thinking about you. I love you. Remember those good times when we used to bake together, or remember how you always loved my whatever it was that I made. That was a form of love. And I'm just reminding you that I love you. But also, all of these things are meant to prove to you that you have intuitive psychic abilities, because you got a whole household and you're the only one that's smelling cigarette smoke. Now, I'm not saying that your family members or whoever's in your house isn't psychic, but I'm saying that you for sure are. And you have dialed into this particular frequency because you have this ability of psychic smelling. Now, psychic smelling, psychic hearing are probably the less common, whereas psychic feeling, clairsentience is one of the bigger ones. Clairvoyance, psychic seeing is another big one. Claircognizant, we haven't talked about this yet, which is psychic knowing, is another big one. But those are all the clairs. Guess what? I have a video about that. I'm going to tag it right at the end of this video that is basically a free class in how to learn about psychic abilities, as was this. I hope this was helpful. You can understand, hopefully, that my soul path is a teacher. I fought that for, probably 40 years. But anyway, here we are. And even though I'm trying to give you simple, this is how they send messages, you can see how spirit guides tried to teach you. You are intuitive, you are psychic. They never miss an opportunity to empower you, to teach you, to leave you with more information than you had before. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Definitely check out the wow videos on my playlist. And do keep a list of the dreams, the animals, the music, the visuals, the items, the smells, everything. Keep a list. It's going to help you see just how connected you really are to the unseen, and that there's a lot more here on this planet than just being a human. You are more than that. Okay? Take really good care. I'll see you again really soon.